Hello, this is Spellbinder with this very disturbing report of an abomination. It's the CFIF.org, the Center for Individual Freedom. It appears that Barack Obama just invited the United Nations to join his ongoing fight against Arizona and dozens of other states attempting to enforce the immigration laws that he refuses to enforce. That sounds treasonous, doesn't it, to go to an external bureaucrats outside the U.S. to get help for something he can't handle because nobody wants it. Nobody wants his opinion on anything. So he's going to go get his buddies over in the UN to beat up on us. You know, it sounds criminal, faceless bureaucrats making decisions on Arizona. Unfortunately, you read that right. On August 20th, the United States, for the first time ever, submitted a 29-page Universal Periodic Review to the UN Human Rights Council, which outlines a laundry list of human rights abuses allegedly committed by the United States. Contained within the laundry list of so-called abuses is a direct condemnation of the SB 1070 legislation enacted by the state of Arizona and supported by an overwhelming majority of the American people, which seek to do the job that the federal government has refused to do: secure the border. Specifically, the Obama administration wrote in the report, a recent Arizona law, SB 1070, has generated significant attention and debate at home and around the world. The issue is being addressed in the court's action that argues that the federal government has the authority to set and enforce immigration law. That action is ongoing. Parts of the law are currently enjoined. The submission of this UPR is the first step in the United Nations review process, which will accumulate with the assurance of a plan of action approximately 90 days from now from a panel of UN faceless bureaucrats, I would say, from France, Japan, and Cameroon. At this point, the United States would be expected to voluntarily comply with the panel's recommendations. But as the UN Human Rights Council states on its own website, the Human Rights Council will decide on the measure it would need to take in case of persistent non-cooperation by a state. Now, since when does the UN control individual states of this country, unless we're sold out to the New World Order? I mean, this is just criminal and anti-American. In short, Barack Obama has upped the ante. No content with simply filing a frivolous federal suit against the people of Arizona, Obama has transformed his amnesty feud with the American people into an international human rights cause and effectively placed the people of Arizona and other states that are considering similar border security bills under the jurisdiction of a gang of American-hating United Nations bureaucrats. Securing the border is no longer just about amnesty. It's about an issue of national security. An overwhelming majority of Americans for years have pleaded with the federal government to secure the border and stop the flood of illegal aliens pouring into the United States. But Barack Obama, believing that he knows best, he's more intelligent than all the people that's against the illegals in this country, has refused to take serious and substantive steps to enforce our immigration laws, which are just about as good as the ones if you try to go down to Mexico. I mean, go down there, you go to jail, and they go and get money from your relatives. And now, right before our very eyes, cities in Arizona and across the United States literally resemble war zones as a result. Arizona Governor Jan Brewer acknowledged this horrendous and unfortunate fact when she signed SB 1070 into law. We cannot sacrifice our safety to the murderous greed of cartels. We cannot stand idly by as drop houses, kidnapping, and violent compromises our quality of life. We cannot delay while the destruction happening south of the international border creeps its way north. Senator Jim DeMint recently echoed these sentiments. States along the border are facing kidnappings, human trafficking, and gang violence, and they have a duty to keep their residents safe. And the situation is rapidly becoming more desperate. A few days ago, the former United States ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton, spoke of this cancerous spread of violence. Bolton estimated that over the past 4 years there have been 23,000 to 28,000 violent cartel-related deaths in Mexico, and said that it's not an exaggeration to say that the stability of the government of Mexico is in doubt. Bolton continued, "The gang warfare that you see in Mexico could easily be replicated in the United States. People who talk about controlling the border are not just talking about illegal immigration. They're worried about the importation of this kind of violence into our cities." Even the former champion of amnesty, Senator John McCain, apparently he grew a backbone and a heart, is acknowledging that Arizona is under siege. Phoenix, Arizona is now one of the kidnapping capitals of the world, second only to Mexico City. In fact, the situation is so bad that the government has recently replaced travel advisories and in some cases closed large tracts of land as far north as 80 miles north of our southern border. Michael Webster with the RenewAmerica.com writes, "A high-ranking Mexican Army commander who insists on remaining anonymous has told the U.S. Border Fire Report that Mexican coyotes are now being trained by the Los Zetas and are operating in the deserts of Arizona." Another story in Human Events reads, "The United States is ceding parts of Arizona. A wide corridor of Arizona from the border north to the outskirts of Phoenix is effectively controlled by the cartels. That's why Arizona passed SB 1070, and that's why as many as 22 other states are presently considering similar legislation." And what is Barack Obama's response to this crisis? Obama has placed himself yet again in direct opposition to the people of the United States by inviting the United Nations to his open borders pro-amnesty party. He is effectively saying to the people of the United States, "The will and the safety of the American people be damned. I want amnesty to further my own twisted political agenda. Therefore, I will not secure the border. I will not enforce our laws. I will furiously sue any state that attempts to enforce the federal law. And if there is any doubt about winning in court, I'll sic the United Nations on people of the United States." The man, that's called treason to the people. That's an enemy of the state. He should be arrested right now. He should be arrested and charged and impeached immediately. I don't know why this isn't happening, except the government, most of the Republicans don't have backbones or something. They should be raising living hell right now. Is this UPR a direct effort to American sovereignty? Of course it is. In fact, when it comes to sovereignty of the United States, specifically the desire of the American people to secure our borders, the United Nations has already made its views clear. In May, the United Nations panel of 6 so-called human rights experts from the United States, Mexico, Kenya, Pakistan, Costa Rica issued a report addressing SB 1070, which reads in part, "A disturbing pattern of legislative activity hostile to ethnic minorities and immigrants has been established with the adaptation of immigration law that may allow for police action targeting individuals on the basis of their perceived ethnic origin." You know, duck and all that stuff. Duck quacks like a duck, looks like a duck, acts like a duck, can't speak English, must be a Mexican, illegal. And the UPR itself was actually produced by the literal rogue gallery of extreme left. According to Doug Hagman with the Canada Free Press, the report is a product of about a dozen conferences held across the U.S. between January and April of 2010, and the participants of these conferences featured such luminaries as Stephen Richard and Wendy Patton from George Soros Open Society Institute, Devin Cherfy and Human Rights First, and Andrea Perso, Human Rights Watch, among others. Hagman adds, SB 1070 has now been moved to an international venue and potential international oversight by the United Nations. The stakes for our national sovereignty have been just raised by the submission of this document, which is the first step of voluntary compliance to the provisions of the United Nations Human Rights Council. So why is Obama appealing to the United Nations? Internet blogger Ben Johnson perhaps put what is happening before your very eyes in its very proper context. When the left cannot win at the ballot box, it overrules the people in the courts. Now that Obama is not sure he can prevail in the courts, he has overruled the American people by hauling Arizona and the two-thirds of Americans who support its law before the United Nations. Patriotic Americans have a duty to speak up and speak out on this equilibrious threat to our sovereignty, and the time to speak out is now, before the latest Obama scheme gains any more traction. I mean, that's unreal. I just can't believe this. It's very sad to see that he's doing this type of stuff. Him and Crazy Pelosi. These two people are mentally ill or something. He's supposedly a constitutional scholar or something, Obama. I don't think he even went to college. I think it was given to him by the CIA. And he never went to college. It was all, I mean, a one-term senator suddenly becoming the most powerful man in the country. You know, and now he's playing dictator. I mean, he's like Bush 3 is what he is. He's the third-term Bush on steroids. I mean, Bush wouldn't have done this. I mean, when they say miss me yet, I almost do miss Bush. Just because he's like Bush on steroids. I've never seen more of a bigger criminal than he is. I guess when you come from Chicago, from the mafia city of the world, I guess that's what you get. You get a mafiosis in office. I mean, this guy thinks he's God. He thinks God died and put him in charge. I think people, we better stand up and do something immediately, or we're going to lose this country real fast. I have a feeling we may not even make it to the November elections with him in office if we don't impeach him immediately. We need to start procedures on impeachment to stop him. If we have another false flag incident like 9/11, it's over with for the country. He'll cancel the elections and put the Democrats in as gods for the rest of the forever. And you'll be forever their slaves. I mean, man, this is bad. This is really bad. I can't believe he went to the UN. That's right there. That's grounds for impeachment, right there. Well, people, with this very disturbing news article, I'm going to leave it here for now. Be good. Be very good at getting him out. Until next time, good day.